psychedelic porn crumpets. That's what I've been listening to. At least on Spotify, anyway. Literally just opened up recently, played on Spotify, and read off a bunch of band names. Yeah, that's all that I've been listening to recently. Various things. It's not that I'm a sad and depressed person who only likes sad and depressed music. It's just I'm a sad and depressed person who doesn't often like happy music. It's not that I don't dislike happy music. It's I don't listen to a lot of it. And usually if I'm listening to something that's happy, I go straight into like comfort zone music. So it's like if I'm going to listen to something that's like upbeat and happy, I'm going to go listen to like classic rock or yeah, I've heard of Black Midi. That sounds familiar. He knows any good habit tracking apps? Disconnect from internet and don't use a phone. That's the best habit you can have. So, no. Not me. Sorry, I'm the wrong person. All my good habits come from when I leave my phone at home. Those are all the best habits I have. Let's dive back in, shall we? Oh, also I still listen to way too much churches. Because for some reason I really enjoy churches and I can't quite rack my head around why, but I do. I really enjoy churches for some reason. All right. Well, where are we doing? Should really mine out this whole chunk. Let's put a table and a throne over here. Let's put another table. The throne down here, and let's also queue up gold cab 3, gold chest 3. We're gonna place all those. Unforbid these and do that. Unsuspend that. So I'm gonna build all the way across that. I need to get this thing sealed up in case I've forgotten beast spawns. I've never really felt the need to use any things like the starter pack or DF hack. I mean, I have an install that's up to date with DF hack, but Dwarf Therapist always seemed kind of pointless to me. It still kind of does. So I don't use Dwarf Therapist, and I don't use the starter pack. It's not called the Lazy Noob Pack, and it hasn't been called that for a while. It's called the Starter Pack. They changed the name of it. But yeah, no, I don't use the starter pack. It's just kind of pointless. All it does is it just adds extra bloat to a game that already has a lot of that. If I ever had a false alarm siege where a siege ends right away, yep, and I know what causes it too. Humanity. It's those are caused by a faction that has scouting armies. It's something that happens in adventure mode. You don't really interact with it much in fortress mode, and if they don't know that your fortress is there, they can accidentally siege you. By that, I mean they're just wandering around at random before they actually know that your fortress is there. It's like a sign of how active Dwarf Fortress's simulation is, because they can just send their armies out to patrol, and if you happen to settle in their patrol route, they can just walk into your map and be like, oh no, and then they turn around and leave. So yeah, that can absolutely happen. Oh, I see. I have process plan. I was wondering why no barrels were getting made. Got the wrong job set. Whoops. Yeah, I play Dwarf Fortress, aside from the tile set, completely vanilla. True lazy people use the least possible install steps to set up the video game. But yeah, I stream without DF hack for... Okay, I thought something weird was going on in the hallway. It's just somebody like chasing their kid. I thought I was hearing screaming, and it's just like a dad yelling at his kid, I think. It's like a man's voice, like laughing and talking with a kid, but I heard screaming. I was like, what the fuck's going on? Okay, it's just a child. It's fine. You've used the... yes, the one that you made. The one that you made. You're so lazy you refuse to use lazy new pack is the truth with stone. But yeah, no, I just, it doesn't benefit me at all. I do have a video on my YouTube channel talking about why I don't use it, but I'm not one of those people who's gonna get mad at you for using it or not. Some people seem to think that I would, but let's see how that benefits anybody. Play the game exactly the way you want. I do the same. Yeah, you made a tile set for my birthday stream next week. For those of you who don't know, set your calendars if you have one. But June the 3rd, Friday, next week, is my birthday. And every year on my birthday, we raise money for charity. I do a big charity stream. But the incentive is every single time we hit a milestone, I swap the tile set for a worse tile set. So I always set up like the classic ones, like the Matrix tile set and whatnot. But I also have a tile set that's just Nicolas Cage's face. I have a tile set that's a bunch of my emotes. If someone wants to make a tile set that's nothing but emoji, I'd use it. We can make the demon's cakes. And by the end of it, I will dig too deep. It's always like a goofy time. I've got a tile set that's just a picture of my face with some text on it. I've got some pretty truly horrendous tile sets. So if you want to witness some truly horrendous tile sets and help me raise some money for charity, or at least spread awareness, we're doing that June 3rd on my birthday. But whether or not the military you send out to places you want to raid actually exist, your military is weird because dwarves in fortress mode operate under a completely different calendar than creatures in adventure mode and the world. So like that's a question that you'd have to ask Tarn, like when I have him on stream at some point, if the armies that you send out actually exist, because I don't know the answer to that question. Whether or not they're actually like tracked, I don't know. I've also never tried like sending out an army and then trying to find it in adventure mode, so I don't know. I feel like that would be really difficult to do. Yeah, I turned 28 on June the 3rd. I'm officially fucking exactly the same as I was the day before. Still have gray hair. Still look older than I am. Still get called old by girls on Tinder. So nothing really changes. Did I ask and then I asked you to see as well? I mean, I don't get to every single question, but, you know. Or pop it in on a Future of the Fort or something. Yeah, because I don't know. We could also search through that Future of the Fortress forum posts and see if anybody's asked that in the past. Space Pirate. When I worked in fast food still, there was this girl that had just been hired, and we were talking, and she was very, like a kid, basically. She was in high school. But we were talking about random shit, and I mentioned that I was quitting, and she goes, why? And I'm like, because I'm going to go work for myself. She goes, really? And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, man, I thought you were just like 40 and had been working here for your whole life. And I was just like, at the time I was 24. Person I was talking with at the bar on Friday because I went out because I felt like it. Thought that I was in my in my 30s, which I can live with. I can live with being in my 30s, with people thinking I'm in my 30s. That's fine. About the various aging process the most. Also, most people who get like even a few gray hairs here just dye their hair like immediately. Makes me wonder because sometimes people who chase after an artifact are stuck forever. I've never had them get stuck forever. I've had them take a very, very, very long time to come back though. But I've never had anyone get stuck anywhere forever. Okay, I need native gold ore, so we're gonna start digging into here. Thinking I do bedrooms back here. So now the question is, do I do bedrooms the same way that I've been doing this platform, which is digging the whole thing out and then like building walls around the edge? Or do I do bedrooms more normally? I think we do bedrooms more normally so that we can do engravings on the walls maybe. All right, we definitely need to brew more drink. Or just brewing it, I guess, as it opens up. Fair enough. I guess I play forts longer than you do than humanity. I mean, I once sent out a squad that I presumed was dead, but they weren't. They just took 2 years to come back. 2 years. So you have to go to bed. We'll see you when we see you. Sleep well, cutest. I'll be on Monday on the HyperStrange channel. Podcast goes up Sunday. These are going to be bedrooms. To see why they took so long? If you send them out to recover an artifact, you get to see the path that they took when they get back, and usually it's like this crazy roundabout, like fucking Indiana Jones lines going across the world, connect the dots thing all the way around the entire world multiple times to every single fortress, obviously stopping at every single tavern along the way. Usually that's why. It's usually that they just stopped everywhere along the way, or the artifact wasn't where you thought it was, and then they, instead of going to the place where the artifact was and then coming back, they go to the place where the artifact was, ask about the artifact, and then proceed to walk around the entire planet twice. Or the entire map twice. I've definitely seen that. That's usually why they take so long, is because they had to walk around the entire map twice to actually get to the artifact. That's usually why they take so long. Sometimes they might run into an army, but then they have to walk around that. Usually it's just because they take a really roundabout route. I know that they can get stuck, but I think that that bug of them getting stuck permanently is mostly fixed, I think. Well, you can pop in at the end. I'll be fine. For those of you who don't know, I've picked up a gig. I stream on HyperStrange TV for the publisher HyperStrange for 2 hours every Monday. And they pay me for my time, which is a weird experience, by the way, getting paid to stream on someone else's channel. But it's kind of like a sponsored thing, but kind of not, because it's more just like, hey, I'm paid to show up and stream on their channel. So it's quite nice to have some supplemental income on the side. So if you want to, like, watch me stream Jupiter Hell for the publisher of that game, just go to this channel. Should really make a command for it or something. Yeah, they literally, so you know those assholes who show up who are like, I want this sword that the golden sword you made, Titan de Stadthralots, or whatever the fuck it's called, this golden sword artifact that you made, and it is their life's goal to take it back to your fortress, to their fortress. That's literally what your dwarves go do. Like, they go to the original place, and if it's not, they ask about it and try and get it, and if they're not allowed to take it, then they'll attack. And then if it's not there, then they just ask around to every single fortress in the vicinity until they either find it or give up. You get people asking for artifacts you accidentally took. That's funny. I accidentally stole an artifact from my own fort. Well, not from my own fort, but from a fort that I'd made in the same world. My last fort, Angel Razor, stole an artifact from my haunted fort in this world. I also once burned down a fort with one of my artifacts because it was a volcano fort that ended up getting flooded with lava at the end. And the hilarious bit is I was like, well, I really, really, really liked this. I think it was an artifact spear. I'm like, I want to go get this artifact spear. And while we're at it, let's also go grab some books. So I sent my dwarves, who were now in a new faction in a different fort, to go to the old fort and go collect a bunch of stuff. So I sent them off. Little did I know that if an artifact is on fire, it burns for all eternity, right? Well, that counts between maps as well. So the dwarves went off, and they came back with the artifact, and the dwarf that came back carrying that particular artifact, or all the ones that were under lava, spontaneously combusted when they got home. So they came home and all exploded into flames. The whole map burnt down, as well as half my fortress. I always do that, antisocial worker. I don't like making squares. Squares are boring. It's not hip to be square, it's... That's what happens when you're square. You take a nap. All right. This gets to go to Dragon Man, who is Kavish, who is in charge of most things in this fort. Of course, they still hate it, but hey, at least they're getting the things that they need. Can walls burn down? If they're made of wood, yes. And a bunch of my walls were made of wood. I'm back and we'll be gone for the rest of the day. So you're back and then immediately leaving? Well, bye! See you Tuesday. Or Wednesday or Thursday, whenever you tune in next. You need to stop making towers out of wood. I would avoid constructing a fortress out of wood just kind of as a practice, but like, make your forts out of whatever the heck you want. Really. Kept erupting them for more than a year at least. Did they re-embark on the same fort? Because of his... My sink might be linking because there's a sticky pink substance, and the last time it was water there. Oh. That's not good. Anyway, best of luck unfucking your sink. I mean, I will still be on for like another 4 hours, but... Oopsos. Not Elomino. Dragoman, there we go. And spring has arrived. Would you look at that? It's so abundant, though. Oh, no, I agree. I certainly agree, but it's still something you gotta be careful with. Nothing better than cutting every tree and getting thousands of logs. I mean, what about, like, making a very satisfying deep pit mine and getting thousands of blocks? There we go. That'll get us some lead. Those take longer to move? No, they don't. But then again, I'm also not about efficiency. Door rock. Let's make doors out of slate. But yeah, no, I mean, if you're building your whole fortress out of wood and a dragon shows up, you can kiss your sweet fortress bye-bye. Because that fortress is gone. So I would be wary about that. But that's just me. I mean, you play the game the exact way your heart desires. And if that means building your whole fortress out of wood and risking possible burnination, I mean, go nuts. I'm gonna tell you how to live your life. Hey, Phineas. How you binsies? I don't know if you've seen these yet, but we have follower emotes now, and they're amazing. Actually, chat, if you haven't seen them, we have follower emotes, and they're amazing. I got people in chat to draw them, and they are great. I think I'm gonna let patrons vote on swapping one in or swapping one out every month. So it's open. If you want to draw a crappy emote, the only rule is they have to be drawn in MS Paint. That's the only rule. So if you want to draw a crappy emote that's themed vaguely after my emotes, I'll chuck it into the pool. I have about 6 in there right now. I'm gonna let my patrons vote on removing one or adding one in. So whichever one's the most popular gets kept. Everybody seems to like the fact that I made it a community thing, so we're gonna keep it that way. But it's kind of like an on a whim thing, but honestly, I think my favorite one though is Crypt Burr. It's just so silly. Burr! It's what you say when you are cold and you're drinking beer. Burr. Or when you've had too many and you're trying to say beer. I can't even remember how much beer I've had. Come over here, Dwarfs. And an Elven caravan has arrived. Would you look at that? Fascinating. So this is the first time the elves have shown up since we settled here. Well, hello, elfies. Chill, like what we've done with the place. Figurines. But what have you been up to, Phineas? Hope you've had a good week. Sell them our gold crafts. Sure, they'll appreciate them. We'll bring our trader up here. Hey, finally. These dwarves are becoming fisher dwarves. All right, so one thing I'm going to have to do for these dwarves, which I am actually going to do, I'm going to make a few walls. A few wall pieces. Probably just out of wood. Actually, let's make this whole structure out of wood. Makes sense. Is I'm going to put little covers all over the place. So that they don't have to stand in the rain all the time. Yeah, we get to watch the Great Procession this weekend. I don't know if I can say that I'm hyped. I mean, it's fucking Monaco, dude. I'm keen on these new cars being quick and exciting to watch, but I'm not certain that I believe that they will make Monaco interesting. How goes it? Well, Freeways, the game generated the best name for a lake of all time. Just did a long ride in my EC and had a bus. Hell yeah. This is the best name for a lake I've ever seen. Yeah, you can't make this shit up. It's the stupid lake. It's literally what it is, and that's what it's called. I can't even make it up. It's the stupid lake. We attracted no migrants, so that's not good. In before, these are all the dwarves we get. Man, that would actually be kind of amazing. No, I'm building a shelter for my fisher dwarves. Oh, well, that's a problem. The forgotten beast, a deer has come. A deer has come. A gigantic feathered caterpillar. It has wings and a bloated body. Beware, its indigo feathers are downy. Beware its deadly spit. Welp. That's not in the layer that... that's not in the layer that has access to my fort, because I dug straight through that one. Hopefully it can't get down here. I think it can. Because I don't have any weapons really yet. So, TLDR about this fortress. What's the teal biome? This is a good marsh, I think. So, like, magical fairies live there and whatnot. Unicorns, that sort of thing. So, the TLDR on this faction chat. For those of you who are only just tuning in, because some new people have tuned in the last few hours. Monaco's issue isn't the cars, it's Barcelona. Monaco's issue. Monaco's roads they're European. Yeah, I mean they're too thin to be exciting. I mean qualifying will be exciting. I'm looking forward to Saturday, but Sunday, not so much. I'll watch it. Don't get me wrong, but called it the stupid tavern? No. So we called the tavern the Moss Pit because I can't call it the Mosh Pit. All of the gods that these dwarves worship are like the most popular gods in this world are the gods of torture and disease and stuff like that. So all of the most popular gods in this world are... Oh, shit, I never assigned a location here. All of the most popular gods in this world are misery and torture, represented by a female dwarf. Fortresses, war and chaos, represented by a female dwarf. Death, represented by a female dwarf. And the one male dwarf god that we know of in this world is metals, crafts, creation, and pregnancy. So we know that much, right? We've named the tavern the Marsh Pit because of how metal the gods were. And then upon further inspection, I realized that this fortress currently has 19 dwarves. 4 of them are male. The rest are all female. This faction is extremely small. And in this tiny little corner of the world, which has 300 dwarves in their main fortress, the Divine Iron of the Plank of Nations. And this fortress is, of course, called Mostern. And right next to it is this tiny little hillocks, which also belongs to us, called Maze Labors of the Mortal Corridor. And we also have this tiny little monastery, which I'm assuming is ours, but nobody lives there, called the Monastery of Helmed Blades. Now, so it's very small. There's almost no men, all right? They all worship female gods of misery and torture and death. And the only male god is the god of pregnancy. Okay. And the queen of this world, of this faction, the Plank of Nations, is also one of my dwarves is there, which is kind of funny, is Gelder. So, you can't make this shit up. That's all, really. So, clearly, we can figure out with some small assumptions, what kind of faction this is. It's one of those days where you feel like shit and have shitty thoughts for no real reason. I feel you there. Been there. Those days are rough. Hang in there. You'll get through it. Being alive sucks sometimes. But anyway, so the way I've taken it is all of the male dwarves in this fortress are fisher dwarves. And that's the only task I'm letting them do. Aside from hauling and some basic farm labor. Gonna have some fun with this one. Dommy Mommy faction? Sure. But so far, I have 19 dwarves and we've stopped getting migrants. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, 22, 23. All right. So currently it's just looking like this faction might just be dead, kind of, is my current assumption, is that this faction might just be kind of dead, which is fine. But it also means we get to build it out, which will be fun. So this is going to be very different from the last fort, which ended in the absolutely most dwarfy violence you can possibly imagine. It ended with all of everything like exploding because we dug too deep, and then a bunch of butterfly demons came flying out of the basement with webs, and alongside of a bunch of fire-breathing things and other stuff. It was fun, but everybody died. So we're still in the same world as that, but we're at the other end of the world, doing our damnedest to explore a new faction, which is this one. But yeah, no, as far as Monaco goes, I am looking forward to Monaco. Monaco is a beautiful track. It's a marvel to the eyes. It's wonderful to look at. I really like that part of Monaco. But my God, Monaco's often such boring races. So I'm just hoping for good racing. That's all I really want. I just want good racing. And if we get good racing, I'll be happy. So fingers crossed for good racing. I mean, if we can get like an exciting race at Monaco, that'll be a first in a very long time. But I'm looking forward to watching the racing regardless. That'll be fun. I'm just looking forward to see whether or not Charles Leclerc bins it in the wall. I mean, it's tradition, sir. He has to. He literally has to. If Charles Leclerc doesn't... Okay, if Charles Leclerc doesn't put it in the wall, Nicholas Latifi will. And if he doesn't, then Stroll has to. Maybe we'll get a hat trick, and all three of them will put it in the wall. Or none of them will put it in the wall, and fucking Danny Rick will. Anyway. Formula 1. It's fun. You should watch it with us, chat. Speedy Tracks and Zoom Zooms on Discord. Damn, with the all-in. Good luck, Phineas. Yep. Damn, Hobo with the 50K. This Forgotten Beast is just bullying a bunch of elk birds. Yay, we actually got some drink. Perfect. We were slowly running out of drink because I'm fishing faster than I was making drinks. Or I was fishing faster than I was making drinks. I kept filling all my barrels up with fish. And not what I actually need, so... It was kind of a bother for a little bit there. I think it's time to stand up. I'm getting a little drowsy. Just to give me a moment, I'll be right up. Oh. God, my back. Best investment. Standing desk. You should get one if you can. Whoa, that's a lot of wins. Congrats, Phineas. To be honest, I had no faith. A nice hobo. My favorite part about this tickets thing is it's been around long enough and people have done enough fiddling with it that they figured out how to make all the funny numbers. 420, 69, 666. All right, let's do that. You know, after all these years, I know the guy's an asshole. I still miss old PogChamp. I still really miss old PogChamp. Old PogChamp was better. Let's see what these elves have to trade. Oh, dang it. Did I really miss them? Well, 240 is how you get 420. So now you know how math works. I thought that was intentional. Unfortunately, well, maybe not unfortunate, but the person who used to watch this stream who truly figured out all the funny numbers was Peter. But Peter hasn't watched this stream actively in like a few years now, it feels like. At least a year. It's been a bit. They unsubscribed like, man, I want to say at like the beginning of 2020 and haven't actively been subscribed since. After like 50 something months. I mean, people do move on, so it's not like it's a bad feels or something, but it's still kind of sad. But they were someone who'd figured out all of the silly numbers, how to make every single silly number appear. Let's just channel all that out. Place a piece of rock salt there. And rock salt all the way up there. One piece at a time. There we go. Our little entryway's almost done, I think. We just need to finish up the top. Finish up the top. So, Chad, anybody got any plans for the weekend? I'm sitting here and just debating on maybe going to a metal show on Friday. Because I was originally supposed to record a podcast at 9 p.m., but now that Ticket's going to be on, I might have time to make it there. But it's an expensive ticket. It's like fucking $45. I don't know if I want to go. I'm going to do some soul searching and check bank accounts tomorrow, and I'll think about it. You work most weekends? I used to work all weekends. Been there. It's a hard gig to have. Although it's also kind of good if you don't like getting invited to things, which I didn't. But now the sad part is now nobody invites me to things because I worked weekends for so long. Because they just assume I'm working. Only like recently have people like started to clue into the fact that I don't work like, or I have flexible weekends. Now I do still work weekends, but at least I'm flexible on weekends now. Just chill. Busy looking for a new job and having to deal with a bunch of stuff. I get you. New career path or just a new gig? You don't have to answer that question if you don't want to. I'm just curious. All right. There we go. Drinks are getting brewed. I'm building these dwarves. Roofs. You know what? Let's do spikes. Let's do ramps instead of flooring. I think they look nicer. You sit kinda on the mountaintop for what you do, mostly just new gig environment, but you want full remote or company to move you to another country. I feel you there. Do you know what country you want to move to? Let's put a refuse pile over here. But yeah, I can understand the benefits of being fully remote as somebody who does that. Construct building. Oh, we're still working on this. Okay. Almost done with the roof bits. I think I can actually close those drinks requirements for a little bit. Germany/Central Europe area being full remote, you'd move yourself to a variety of locations every few years. Gotcha. Kind of slow motion version of exploring the world. There's no better way to explore somewhere than to live there for a bit. You don't truly know a place until you've lived there. Hey, Frosty. I'll say this about Monaco because I've been thinking about it now that you mentioned it, Trizuka. I just want someone unexpected to win Monaco. Because Monaco, even on a good day, is not a particularly fun track to watch, just because of, like, the problem that Hobo mentioned. I just want someone unexpected to win. And if we can get that, I will be ecstatic. So that's what I'm hoping for. I just hope Uh-oh. Oh, giant cave spider was killing a Gorlak. Okay. I just want somebody unexpected to win Monaco. If somebody unexpected wins Monaco, I will be ecstatic. That is my big hope. If you don't like it, move elsewhere. Yeah. I have this, like, weirdly... I guess I'm just really thankful for my grandmother, my Oma. Because it's because of her that I live in Vancouver, basically. Like, she moved here after World War II. She knew she wanted to go to Canada and from Germany. And then traveled all the way across Canada and settled on here. And the reason she settled on here is because you have mountains, ocean, and clean air. At this point, I'm like, I don't know if I would ever want to live anywhere else. Unless I could get all three of those things. Unless I could get mountains, ocean, and clean air. And that's actually quite difficult to pull off. Mountains, ocean, and clean air all in the same spot. Let's just get rid of this. Get rid of this. Get rid of this as fishing areas. And make this a fishing area up here. A little bit bigger. Fishing source. We'll also make this a fishing source. And that way they won't be underwater all the time. They can just be satisfied at work. We'll give them statues and other things out here to keep them company, but... There's also, like, just a dead, hungry head on the ground. Let's make 10 gold goblets. You have some baseline items, but no gold? Yeah, I understand. I have this... I guess I'm just really fortunate to live where I do. And that's just kind of a fact. Apparently gonna rain in 15 minutes. A lot of things open on my phone that I can close. While the game is saving. Doop-a-doop. Take a while to save. But yeah, that's kind of just what it comes down for me is just unless I can have like the absolute ideals of the things that I would want around me, I just wouldn't want to live there. I spent years growing up in Germany. You visited it for a while for work, and you both would like to spend time there, so it's high on the list. I get you. I would take the remote. Go remote and take lots of money, and I don't know what your like life needs are, but like just go live light for a couple of years. That's actually always something that I've been kind of jealous of. Not because, like, I couldn't do it in my career, but because of the fact that, like, I need healthcare. I'm a lot more limited on what I can move around Canada pretty easily, but like even within Canada, the places I can actually go to are pretty limited. It's like if I go to Quebec, or as an example, I won't be covered for any of the stuff I need because I wasn't born in Quebec. So all of a sudden, like, my healthcare costs would quadruple if I went to Quebec and tried to live in Quebec, just as an example. And then I wouldn't be able to afford to live. So certain provinces are just like a no-go. And I can't really move around freely because I have to reapply for like different provinces' healthcare, and every province has different rules for their healthcare. The difference is you've kind of worked with in an office with the company for years, so no, everyone is the other is an unknown new quantity. Yeah, unknown new quantities can be fun. I'll just say that, like, working for yourself with a lot of location freedom is great. Although, working remote isn't for everyone, which has been made very evident by the past few years, you know? Some people thrive and some people go a little insane. I like to think I'm one of the people that thrives, but at the same time, I'm not exactly normal. Like, I mean, if you watched my stream, like one of the funniest stream reviews I got ever was somebody who popped in yesterday. It was just like, I started watching you on YouTube and thought that you were really weird. And then I kind of fell in love with your character, and now I watch all of your YouTube videos, and now I want to watch your streams too. I was like, aw, thank you. But all your dwarf seems depressed. Oh no, all my apes are gone. Same diff. I mean, depressed dwarves just mean that you're missing something, right? Like, have you built a temple? Have you given them a tavern? Have you intentionally murdered half their friends and left dead cats in the hallway? There's usually a reason why they're depressed. Maybe they reflect your subconscious. Oh no! Shit. This dwarf has a fever because they stood underneath the crappy stuff. The repugnant ooze. I really hope that that fever passes. That's not good. They get rained on, they get the fever from the repugnant ooze. That's 2. Oh, no, still just... Oh, El Naso has it now, too. Alright, I only need to go up to the water's edge. I don't actually need to go up and over the water's edge. I'm just going to get rid of all of these that go over the water's edge. Except for those. You totally wade through the ooze and get sick? Well, the repugnant ooze causes a fever. So not optimal. There's a cat with a fever, too. I'm going to place a bunch of beds over here. And make this into a hospital. And you spent 2 years in subpar conditions. Yep, that will piss everybody off slowly. Oh boy. Well, that'll be fun to deal with, I guess. All right, so this right here is going to be the hospital. Curious to see if they go lie down when they have the fever. Elomino also has it. I do hope it passes. Even if it doesn't, but we'll be okay, but I do hope it passes. Dwarves getting a fever is like, they're slower and they're less efficient. They're not as good at their jobs in any way. Dwarves being sick is bad. You know what? Fuck it. We'll just get rid of the last of this. It's fine. It's not worth it. That was a mistake. Also, nobody has any medical skills. Let Stone be our medical dwarf. Oh, hey, another forgotten beast. Well, that's good. The forgotten beast, Icklist, has come. A giant hairy earthworm. It has thin wings of stretched skin and it squirms and fidgets. Its purple hair is long and wavy. Beware, it's fire. I think it's Grimace. Oh, God. I think it's Grimace. It's also already burning stuff. Look. Whoop, there it goes. It's also in the bottom cavern layer. Yeah, the lowest one. Oh, shit! Rip Plump Helmet Man! F's to the plumpies. Plump Helmet Man just got wrecked. Sad. Big sad. Zakos also has a fever. God damn it. Great. Half my dwarves have a fever from that stupid lake. I love the fact that it's called that stupid lake and I can just like passively call it that without thinking about it and not actually be incorrect. I have a problem, chat. I have to click the cookie for a little bit. But yeah, no, my biggest goal is just to keep growing this stream to a point where I can just do this without actually, like, do this job, streaming full-time, without actually having to grind like I have 2 jobs. Because for, like, I've done this full-time for years, right? Like, I've streamed full-time for years. Like, it's been the majority of my income since 2016. The majority of my income since 2016. So I've been at this for a while. But the thing that, like... What the fuck? Something knocked down a tree down here? Alright, well, I gotta fill this in. The thing that, like, has been rough about this, doing this as a job, versus, you know, having a normal job, is a normal job, like, you work, you know, the hours that you work and that's it, right? I don't work the hours that I work and then that's it. I work currently probably about 70 to 80 hours a week, currently. And it's gotten better. It used to be higher. But I can't do it at the pace that I used to. I just can't. It's like a combination of like long-term burnout and just sheer exhaustion. And it's obvious when I'm not in a good way because of it. And then it hurts my income and it's bad. I'm just trying right now, and all of my efforts like up until 2020-ish were just to make income viable. Now I'm at a point where income's viable. So now I'm trying to make this income viable while also working a humane number of hours. And, you know, for a lot of streamers, it's like, oh, hire an editor is something that people do commonly, but, like, I can't afford that. So, hire a managing company to handle all of your gigs and hire an editor is usually what people do. But I'm not at the point where I can do either of that. I'm not big enough to get a management company to manage all my gigs, and I'm not fortunate enough to have enough finances to be able to hire an editor. So it's kind of this, I'm almost at that point, but not quite on a lot of things. I don't think that fever is ever going to go away. Sheesh. Well, we've queued up that traction bench once that chain is done. Let's place this and this. There we go. Managed to put manager / bookkeeper / captain of the guard all in one room. I just need to fix the justice stuff because I need chains. So, man, I could put the chains like on the roof in the rain. Wouldn't that be awful? That'd be the meanest possible prison you could do. Yeah, that's all that I'm working towards. So when people are just like, I want to have the same job that I have, but maybe make less money and be in a location that I like is like huge. Like, whenever I'm given the option now, it's like, do a thing or do a thing that's more convenient that pays less. I think I will do the thing that's more convenient that pays less every single time, assuming I can still afford to live on it. Not necessarily more convenient. Do the thing that is more pleasant, that you enjoy more, that pays less. In my experience, it's been worth it every single time I've been given that decision. Or every single time I've given myself that decision, even. All right, so I think that we move up one tile to do the tavern. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to construct up downstairs. Okay, sweet. So it does go down. Get one there. Oh, no, that's an upstair. I want up, down. One there. One there. One there. One there. One there. And this is going to be the tavern. I'm sure, and we can make this into a fun shape, too. Uh-oh. Can't actually go that far up. If I go that far up, I will collide with open air, which I can't do. Which is fine. This will actually look better this way. Also, chat, we're kind of quiet right now. Can I get a round of beers? If you're listening to the stream, just type in the word beer. If anybody's got anything they want to talk about, Dwarfy or otherwise, just feel free to shout. I think the plan is we'll probably do about another hour of this. And then after we do another hour of this, we're going to go play some Shotgun King. Because I haven't played very much of the full release. And I'm interviewing one of the developers of it tomorrow. So tomorrow we get to, or I get to, talk in a recording with one half of Punk Cake, who made Shotgun King, and then I get to work on a video for that. It's been a while since I've done an interview. The last interview that I did was the Odd Realm interview that I did, and then also the one that I did with Tarn and Zach. Those are the two most recent interviews, and those are both like 2+ months ago, so. It's been a little bit. It's basically been since I did the schedule change. It's been a while. So very much looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to getting more of that kind of content on the YouTube channel. Because the YouTube channel has grown quite a bit since I've done a video like that. So I'm really curious to see how well it'll do. Especially considering it's about a game that, I don't know. Is it fair to say that Shotgun King's been a little bit of a sensation? I wouldn't say it's blown up or anything crazy, but it certainly hasn't. It's not like the biggest game in the world, but it's not a small game either. BER doesn't actually work. You have to type in cryptbur. Just an FYI. I haven't made BER on its own a beer post. How's this for a tavern, chat? That'll be the marsh pit. It isn't perfectly symmetrical, but it's fine. Although I could actually make it perfectly symmetrical by simply doing this. Yep, now it's symmetrical. Traction bench has been completed. Excellent. Let's place the Gabbro down there. Man, I really wish that fevers in Dwarf Fortress weren't a permanent curse, because I'm pretty sure it is just kind of a permanent curse. It's like once they get a fever, they just kind of have a fever for forever. Really kind of sucks. Not gonna lie, it really kind of sucks. Man, there's 2 forgotten beasts running around. Not going to be able to fight those for a while. Not for a while at all. Which is kind of a pain. What did I call this fort again? Drowned Waters. It's definitely the Drowned Waters. Although if I realized how much of a bunch of dominatrixes this faction was, I would have named it something different probably. It's like weirdly warm in here. Like unpleasantly warm. Gotta be about 24 degrees in this apartment right now. My heat's been turned off since winter ended. Not a fan. Too goddamn warm in here. Whoa, what's that? Oh, shit. Forgotten beast spittle. Look at that. Or ichor, maybe? Actually? Oh, it is ichor. Wonder if that beastie went and died. This is like this line of ichor all the way down. Hmm. Interesting. I mean, we did have a bug beast, so that would do it. One of the most satisfying things about the last fort was right before it ended, we were able to... right before it ended, we were able to butcher and cook a bunch of demons. So my dwarves got to feast on demon flesh before they died. You're stoked. You implement and paralleled a shaped subsection of hyperplane in 4D that can get a distance to a point, which means that you can start implementing ray marching in 4D. Right. Those are words. I'm proud of you. Chat, be stoked for Pink Fluffy Llama, because I don't know what any of that means. Gobbo Siege happened and it's GG. Time to get vengeance on them Gobbos, man. Gotta build a new fort in the same world with the same faction close by. And go murder those goblins. Show those goblins who's paced. Your old dwarves are, but theirs will be too. They're goblins. Not their, you know what I mean. Can I not make picks out of silver? Really? What a shame. You'll let them have it? No, go take vengeance. Murder all them goblins. This means wah, as they say. Or, you know, generate a new world, that works too. What's the absolute deepest the dwarves can go? As deep as the world goes. I mean, if you hold shift and hit the down arrow, you can go as deep as your world is, and that depends on how deep your world is. This world is really shallow because when I was generating it, I wanted to make a weird, neat world. So I cranked up rainfall and did a bunch of weird things like that. But if you... I guess here we'll just make some upstairs. But if you generate a normal world, about 160 to like 200 layers-ish. And then there's a few layers that are deeper down, but those are harder to find. Unzips socks. I'm confused by that sentence. Or that statement. Like I said, I don't know what any of those words mean. Frog. Anybody care to translate? Repellent ooze. To socks being unzipped. This is the weirdest faction I've ever played so far. Sideways. They're very small. They only have 2 forts, not counting the 2 that I've made. And there's almost no male dwarves in the entire faction, and the queen is a Gelder. So, it's a very strange faction. I feel like I would need to see a render of whatever the hell you're talking about to understand what you're talking about. I think. Scalp is itchy. But yeah, it's quite a strange faction. How you doing, though, Sideways? It's good to see you. It is indeed good to see you. You're tired but good? Yay, that's good to hear. You're good. Tired can be good too. It just means that you get to sleep well tonight. Can you do me a huge favor? Explain like I'm 5. What in the world is a 4D object? Go refill that hydration supply. Enjoy your slip, Stoned. You have a good night. Chat, say goodbye to Stone, aka Seashore's Wall, our resident Dwarf Fortress translator and random Wikipedia page enthusiast. Oh my god, the game did the thing again. It does this every now and again. It minimizes itself when it's done saving. I don't know why this install does that, but holy fuck, I always think it crashed. But good night, Stone. Thank you very much for your contributions to the Dwarfy follow emotes. The 3D object is a series of 2D objects folded together, then a 4D object is 3D objects folded together. I don't think that's how dimensions work, but okay. Huh. Hypercube, that was a good movie. So was Cube. God damn, that's an underrated movie. I want to say that Cube and Hypercube are both on YouTube for free. Pretty sure. Imagine folding a piece of paper into origami, and then imagine folding it in the same space the same way, resulting object would be 4D. No, it wouldn't, because it wouldn't move through time. I guess it's the 4th dimension that my brain is breaking. I can't imagine that, so I guess I will never understand truly what a 4D object is. And you know what? I'm okay. I will live. Wait, actually, hold on a second. If I made a dragon out of lying down dragons in Dwarf Fortress, would that be a 4D object? Something that's in the 4th dimension is something that can move forward and backwards through time at will. I don't know if a black hole would be considered 4D, but then again, I'm also not a space scientist, so fuck if I know. Do you have any idea how unhelpful it is to say just no with no comments outside of it, aside from just saying no in a Twitch chat? Because by the time you say no, at least a minute and a half has passed in my time normally. And so I have no idea what you're saying no to, CCJ. So if you're going to just say no, give it a little bit of context. Otherwise, it's just very difficult for it to actually be helpful. Show the shadow of a 4D object projected onto a 3D space. I'm going to continue pretending that I understand these words. It's okay. I play video games on the internet because I'm entertaining, not because I'm smart. At least I think I'm entertaining. Yeah, it might as well just mean nothing. Just stating no without context attached to it in a Twitch chat is like a non-statement. Oh, you mean no. That's what no means. Also, you're allowed to hit that command to make a point. Every single dwarf in this fort should get a bedroom. No! Well, it's real funny because like earlier today, someone pointed out the fact that we have the educational tag on this stream, which is kind of an ironic thing. I should put the endurance training tag back on my streams because I used to always do that when I streamed 7 days a week because I would stream 7 days a week. So it's like, oh, I'm training my endurance for streaming naturally. Oh God, another year of no migrants? Cracking my hip. That one to Sethados. One to you. That one to Stone. That one to Elomino. That one's already Space Pirates. That one to Taco Nuva. That one to Dank Penguin. That one defaulted. If it works, you'll probably write it in C++ and add shaders. Oh. You have received a key for Crossfire Legion. Grab that. I'm curious about that game. Although people seem to hate it, which is expected. It's an RTS. Of course everybody hates it. I'm going to redeem the key to talk about it on the podcast. Don't know if I'll ever stream it, though. Probably won't. God, that game's 9 gigs. Pretty big. I'm gonna install it now. Yeah, it's hard to tell who's replying to who sometimes. It's not antisocial workers' fault. No, we have the visual ASMR tag. The reason we have visual ASMR is because everybody in chat, or not everybody, but a lot of people seem to have this weird thought process that Dwarf Fortress makes your eyes bleed. So ironically, we're visual ASMR because visually this stream is relaxing as it makes your eyes bleed. Ironically, that's the only tag that I actually get views from. I don't get I get almost no views from the visually impaired tag. I get some from the closed captions tag. But visual ASMR is the one that I get the most. Do I even have the closed caption tag? Twitch, you removed my closed captions tag. The fuck? But yeah, I get some from the closed captions tag. None from the visually impaired tag, but quite a few from the ASMR tag. Although, because visually impaired is such a broad spectrum, it also like counts for people who are colorblind, so doesn't really give people much reason to look through it. It's kind of an irrelevant tag almost. I just have it so people shut up about my name. Hey, audio. How's the new fort? Have I told you the TLDR on this fort? Because the TLDR is kind of hilarious. Also, we're on a lake. That is the top of the thing is the name of the lake. You can't make that up, but that's the name of it. So, this faction is very small. They only have 2 forts, so I'm trying to help them expand. But I think I've figured out why the faction is so small. They only have 2 forts. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is, seems like every single dwarf in this faction is female. More or less. Like, the vast majority are female. We have, out of 19 dwarves in the fort right now, 4 of them are male. The rest are all female. And the queen of this faction is a fucking Gelder. So that has driven my headcanon of what this faction is real quick. Real quick. So... yeah. We're this weird faction down in the bottom south. Same world as the last fort, but... we'll probably be playing this for another, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes, and then we're going to go play Shotgun King until late in the evening. That's the plan. Is this what you were posting code in chat for about the other day? Pink? Thank you for moving that over to Discord, by the way. It's much better. Much more usable. But yeah, this faction's weird so far. And we're on the... oh, shit. Why are you trading? You don't need to trade. Sorry about that. Yeesh. But yeah, this faction is kind of strange. Doesn't also seem that efficient. So thus we ran with the theme. All of the male dwarves are fisher dwarves. That's what we're making the men do in this fort, is fish. Which, like we were talking about earlier, yeah, it's a female-dominated structure for this fortress. But, I mean, how many dads out there would be totally okay with just fishing for all eternity? Like, you're just like, guys, go fish. That's heaven for some people. Oh, also, all of the gods in this fort are like these weird undead and / gods of death, which is also pretty great. So, like, they all worship, like, very evil gods. That are all female dwarves, of course. And the only male dwarf god for this faction is the god of pregnancy. So, you know, it all checks out, pretty much. The headcanon of this place is ridiculous and you love it. I hope I hope it continues. I really, really hope it do. I kind of hope we get the queen. I hope that she's just like evil. But because like we've had so few people come by so far and we've stopped getting migrants already, I'm getting a little worried. I'm being honest. But I think what I'm probably gonna do is once this tavern up here is done, just allow guests. See what we get. Hopefully we get something interesting. But I'm just happy that, you know, we've had a great turnout today. There's been a lot of people hanging out. I think part of that is because the YouTube channel did well this morning, but had a great turnout today. Lots of people have been watching. It's been chill. I just saw the weirdest icon that confused the hell out of me. It was actually just a cat with a fever. Oh shit, this cat claimed somebody. Whose cat is that? Or who does the cat, who belongs to the cat is the proper thing to say. Okay, so, Cutest Ghost has had a cat claim them. Thanom has a pet guinea cock. And, Pablo has a pet guinea hen. Okay. Enjoy your looks. I don't know if the queen's necessarily a necromancer. I mean, it doesn't say that they're a necromancer. Also looking at the elves. I mean, they do also have a king who's an axe dwarf. But my favorite thing about it is that I had to start 2 forts today. The first one bugged out real bad, so we had to make a second fort. But one of the dwarves from the first fort, Wilmer, is now the outpost liaison, which I really like, meaning they didn't have an outpost liaison before this one. Oh, you're just saying that you think it could be fun to make her one? I mean, we have to get her first. I don't know what our plan for this fort is. Although necromancy could be a valid option. So does the ooze give bad thoughts or anything else? You see those doors with a little red X on them? It gives fever. So when they get touched by it, they're cursed with having a fever. So your dwarf has a fever. Which isn't even considered a health problem. It's just kind of a status effect, and I think it's permanent. Yeah, see, you have a fever. If there is a way to cure it, I don't know how. So maybe a shower will cure it if you have ooze on you. No, you don't. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you cure it, but they seem to get a fever. It doesn't seem to give bad thoughts, actually. So it's not that bad, it's just annoying. God, hold on a second. I'm gonna go open the door up. I need some fresh air in here. There we go. Just opened up the sliding glass door crack so I can get some fresh air in here. I just feel like this room has no oxygen in it currently. I'm also going to sit down. Today was hot and humid, so you felt like taking a shower after walking outside? Yeah. I mean, it's not hot nor humid. I mean, what is I mean, it's not cold, but what's the temperature outside? Well, I guess it depends on your definition of hot. Yeah, it's 15 degrees Celsius outside right now. So it's like it's nice. It's what I would describe as nice. It's 15 degrees Celsius and raining. Tomorrow's supposed to be the same. And then it's supposed to be cloudy after that. So it's nice. It's chill. Very pleasant temperature. Pretty optimal temperature as far as I'm concerned. Maybe even, might be a slight exaggeration, but some of my favorite temperatures are around that level. It's about where I like things to be. So, quite pleased with the current weather. But I know it's not going to last. I'm also kind of looking forward to the weather being nice because going to go like the one thing that I think that the pandemic really did to the few people that I'm friends with is it made everybody realize, fuck, camping's really good. So now everybody that I know is like combination of things that I've convinced them to do, and also they've convinced themselves to do this. But my few friends have all went out and bought camping gear in the past like 6 months. So I just need to acquire a camping tarp setup, some ropes, a few carabiners, and a camp stove. Although a friend of mine has a camp stove, so I can just steal his. And then I actually get to go camping this summer, especially with this stream schedule. It's actually possible. You were looking at... Glad to chill. Oh, hello. Hi from Halifax. Well, hi from the opposite end of Canada. Almost as far close to the opposite end of Canada. I'm in Vancouver, so. This time I was in Halifax was 2008? I think that's... It was either that or 07. I think it was 08. Might have been 09. Somewhere around there. One of those three. It's been a while. I was there for kayaking. Eons ago. But yeah, we started up a new fort today. And slowly working through things. Slowly building stuff. But what kind of fort you building, Vald of the Sea? We're starting a new fort. This is not the first fort I've done in this world. I've done a bunch. But this is my first fort with this particular faction. So I built this fortress, built this fortress, I built this fortress, I also built this fortress, and this destroyed fortress. I also built this one up here. So it's been a pretty good time so far. And chat seems to be talking about 40 objects and rendering things, and I don't understand. So I'm just letting them enjoy their conversations and pretending that I know what they're talking about. By that, I mean I really don't know anything about what they're talking about. You know, the most effort I put into understanding multiple dimensions was reading the book Flatland. Read that years ago. and have since forgotten everything that I learned from it and will never think about it ever again. No, it's fine. Don't apologize. I'm just happy that there's people chatting. Have you never read Flatland? Flatland is fascinating because it was written in 1884. It's a short story about a 2D object. And the concept of, or imagining what life would be like from the perspective of something that only had 2 dimensions and trying to explain what living in 2 dimensions is like to a 3D creature. Apparently it was also made into a movie, which I've never seen, but yeah, it's a fascinating little light novel. But I've never seen the movie, so I don't know what that thing's like, but just trying to make a fort where nobody throws tantrums. Your forts usually end with a tantrum that goes really bad. Well, in my experience in the current version of the game, you have to try really hard to make everybody tantrum. But if you need any advice or ideas, just give me a shout. The one thing that I always say is just make sure that you're making all your temples and all your taverns, and make sure that your dwarves have like their basic needs covered, beds and such. Currently, I find it very difficult to actually have a fort fall into tantruming, but I do know that I am not in the norm when it comes to people's opinions on the difficulty of this game, so. Flatland is fantastic, yeah. Do recommend reading Flatland. I mean, it's only 96 pages. Like you can read it in like an hour. If you're fast, you can read it in like an hour. It's very much a light novel, but it's a fascinating little short story. The main reason why I would say Flatland is fascinating too is because of when it was written. The temple guild system? Guilds are schools. You make a guild, right? Let's make a guild. Meeting location, assign, add, guild. Let's say this is let's make a stoneworker hall, right? The Beak of Iron, okay? Now, if I hit locations, by default, it's set so only guild members can visit that, meaning only a person who is a stoneworker can visit that. But if I set it to all visitors welcome or citizens and long-term residents only, then anybody who is skilled in that skill can go there and teach a lesson in that skill. Teaching your dwarves the lesson of that skill and giving them the same happy thought they would get from doing that skill without actually doing that skill. That's all that they are. But by default, they're set so that only the dwarves with that skill already can go there. They're literally just like a school. Children, like your little kid dwarfs, they can go there and visit the guild halls and learn skills. Adults can go there and learn skills. Like if you have a very active guild hall that has a lot of value that dwarves spend a lot of time in, which can just happen sometimes if that's what happens to be popular, if the dwarves all happen to have interest in that thing, then like half of your fort will be stoneworkers in a very short period of time. That's all that they are. They're literally just little schools. As far as a temple goes, just make a zone and assign it to all visitors welcome, or assign it to any deity, and that's all that you need to worry about. Also, we're just going to make our tavern public. I'm curious to see if we get any visitors. So that's literally all it is. Just do that. Also, hold the fucking phone. What? So, Jack, remember at the very, very beginning of this fortress, I had a dwarf arrive that was completely insane? And then I expelled them? They're still here and they just live in the caverns. I have a theory. Currently, it's climbing in a weird spot. It's completely insane. I have a theory. I think this dwarf might be a vampire. that I expelled from one of my forts, who I didn't expel, who was chained up in one of my forts, who went insane, who was taking a different name. Also, hi Laura, what's up? How's my good old-fashioned keyboard smash friend doing? Cause it's a wild, wild Dwarf. Yeah, the temple system is super simple, and the guild hall system is even simpler. Just make a zone and call it the thing. You don't have to put anything in it. It can just be an open square in the middle of a room, and the dwarves can visit it and do all that. That's a dead jabberer. Stinky dead jabberer. Giving a few other dwarves stoneworking. Need to get this stone detailing sorted out at a more reasonable pace. Good to hear, Laura. Good to hear. We are just passively avoiding this forgotten beast that's in the walls because I don't have any armor or any material to make into armor, for that matter. Huh. So I'm looking at apparently level 1 techs made a recent benchmark, and one of the games that they included in the benchmark is Dwarf Fortress. In fact, they included not only Dwarf Fortress but also Cataclysm. Thanks, level 1 techs, for doing the stuff that we all need, truly. What type of Forgotten Beast is it? Not a particularly scary one, but it's scary if you have no weapons. It's not on the map right now. So there's two. There's a bug and a there's a bug and a different one. There's two. I can't remember what the other one was. One was a giant worm that breathes fire. That is purple and fuzzy. So it's like a giant purple worm version of that one McDonald's character. And then the other one is although the worm also has it has wings, so it's a flying purple people eater. And then the other one was just a bug. I can't remember what the other one was. I've just kind of been ignoring them, to be honest with you. Because this fort is like the opposite of the other fort that I was doing, where it's like nobody has any military skill whatsoever, instead of like everybody being a legendary warrior in something. Which is what the Crimson Pulley was like by the end. Because the other fort, everybody died. Like, everybody died. Everybody. Every single dwarf died. But yeah, that's all that the Forgotten Beast is. Sorry, I'm like weirdly spacey this evening for some reason. I'm not totally sure why. It's actually kind of driving me nuts. Sometimes you're just really spacey. Probably means that I've just been streaming a lot this week, which I have. Sometimes I just get spacey. You go there, and you can be assigned to Pablo. I do have some dwarves. I do have 2 dwarves available, by the way, so if anybody would like a dwarf. Although one of them is a male dwarf, so they could just get to fish for all eternity. You go there. But if anybody would like to be one of the last 2 dwarves we have available, shout. You love fish? Guess that means you want to be this crafts dwarf. Your vad is bread, night, luxury. Red Knight is annoyed when caught in the rain, but was satisfied at work. And didn't feel anything after seeing a Reacher's dead body. And didn't feel anything after seeing a Hungry Head's dead body. And didn't feel anything after seeing a Hungry Head's dead body. And he was blissful after sleeping in a very good bedroom. 83 years old, born on the 26th of Galena in the year 120. He's a dubious worshipper of Lamashh, who of course is a deity of the Plank of Nations, most often takes the form of a female dwarf and is associated with chaos, war, and fortresses. His long sideburns are braided, his very long mustache is neatly combed, his very long beard is arranged in double braids, and his very long hair is braided. His brass eyes have large irises, and his nose is upturned. His lips are thin, and his cinnamon skin is slightly wrinkled. His ears are somewhat short, and his head is somewhat short. His hair is pale taupe, with a touch of gray. He is agile and likes bismuth, nickel, jelly opal, linen fabric, rings, and mules for their stubbornness, and the words of the hoary creature and the sound of the festive sparkles and the sight of the lilac of poets, and when possible prefers to consume sweet potato, wine, and maize flour, and absolutely hates cave spiders. He personally would just as soon have nature and the great outdoors burned to ashes and converted into a great mining pit, and sees wars as a useful means to an end, and dreams of creating a great work of art, is unbelievably stubborn and will stick to even the most futile action once his mind is made up. He has a strong tendency towards privacy, and he has a tendency to consider ideas and abstractions over practical applications. He likes to think before acting, and he likes to brawl, and he has an active imagination, and he doesn't tend to hold on to grievances. He is quick to form negative views about things and rarely is happy or enthusiastic. He is conflicted by this, as he values parties and merrymaking as an abstract concept. And he finds obligations confining, though he's conflicted by this for more than one reason. And he likes to take it easy and has a tendency to go it alone without considering the advice of others. And his hands become animated when he gets angry and needs alcohol to get through the working day. There you go, Bread Knight. You have a dwarf. Welcome to the fort. While we let the rest of these dwarves continue polishing up these bedrooms. But yeah, today's been chill. Today's been good and chill. Yesterday was great. Day before was pretty quiet, but good. No complaints. Been a good week of streams so far. And just as a reminder to everybody, as of I guess last week, or this week anyway, every Monday I do a 2-hour stream from 11 a.m. Pacific until 1 p.m. Pacific on HyperStrange TV, which is the Twitch channel for a small publisher called HyperStrange. They publish a bunch of boomer shooters, but they also publish a game that I really like called Jupiter Hell that I've been playing since before they had Jupiter Hell on their roster. So I do a 2-hour stream of Jupiter Hell, paid for by them once a week, meaning don't trust anything I say about Jupiter Hell because I'm now very biased. The dev is one of my patrons, and the publisher hired me to stream their game, so it's quite literally a dream job. Well, it's not really a job, but a part-time gig. Show up and play a game and be entertaining for 2 hours. So if you want to catch a bonus stream, I recommend following HyperStrange TV. Let's put a cabinet in here. A gold cabinet, because that dwarf's already stripped off half their clothing. Cutest. Am I crazy, or do you have 2 bedrooms? I'm crazy. It's fine. I'm just crazy. Sometimes I do kind of feel bad sitting here in the Dwarf Fortress directory with way more viewers than anybody else in the Dwarf Fortress directory. I feel like I'm taking all the traffic sometimes. Not that I, haven't earned it and don't deserve it or something, but I still sometimes feel kind of bad. Laura, how's the music stuff been going? I've seen that you released a few things. Every now and again, I get pinged with an email saying that you released something. Ow, cracking my neck. Dwarf doesn't seem to mind their job too much, although they do want to be around friends more. But yeah, I may just have to make a bunch of forts for this faction, because especially if we're just going to stop getting migrants. And they only traded with us once, and they haven't shown up this year, which is weird. It's kind of is there a particular reason why you haven't shown up? I love, also just rewinding the chat room a little bit, I love how much stuff we imagined before we actually invented it. And how many concepts that we use in modern day computing that we thought, that could maybe be possible. Let's build this. My favorite example, though, is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And submarines. Because that's a fun book. Oh, hey, we have enough beds. Excellent. Every dwarf has a bedroom. Perfect. Now we get to see if we actually get more migrants. Because the past 2 migrant seasons, we have not received a migrant. So, But yeah, we're getting to the point of the stream where it's like, the more active the chat is, the longer I'll play dwarfs. Otherwise, we'll be swapping games pretty soon, I think. So it has been about 9 hours of dwarfs today. Well, do you want dwarves? Keep the conversation going. Streams need engagement. Let's just get rid of all this. Get some more construction work done. Not very. See, CJ? If you build an overhang, they can't climb them at all. It's like it's like 3 smoothed walls, unless they're made out of jagged walls, like walls that aren't smooth. If the walls aren't smooth, then basically as high as you make them. But if they're constructed walls, or smoothed walls, then like 3 or 4. If they're a legendary climber, maybe a little higher, but not very. But if you build in an overhang, they can't scale your walls. Like at all. So we're gonna go up here, and I'm gonna get rid of this. That. Nope, not that. That. This and that. We're going to put 2 fisheries. I hit the wrong button. Put 2 butcheries. A tannery. 2 kitchens. And 2 stills. How high did you make your walls, CCJ? Yeah, and you've been sharpening your tools lately? I haven't done any woodworking. Man. Outside of like some whittling while camping or being out on a hike, I basically haven't done woodworking since I was a small kid. I don't have any tools for it, and I don't have the space to acquire the tools for it. It's kind of like I kind of need both, and I kind of don't have both, you know? You need space and tools, and I don't have space or tools. So, there is something I've always wanted to make, though, or rather, I've wanted to make for a while. Maybe not always, but I've wanted to make for quite some time. Or commission somebody to make it or something, but I really, really, really want a nice, like, thing to hold my cassettes in, because I own about 30 cassette tapes now, and that collection is growing pretty quick because they're cheap. And the classic cassette case looks like this. But these were made by one company called the Napa Valley Box Company. And they shut down in the early 2000s. You can still find these boxes, and somebody still makes these tiny ones, but nobody still makes these. Someone bought the name and still makes these tiny ones, but nobody still makes these large ones. And I really want to make one of these. I think it would be a really fun project, but I don't have the skills, space, or the tools to do it. Sure, it's fun. You know what's also fun? Kayaking. You know what I also don't have? The space or the ability to store a kayak. The space for it or the ability to store or transport even a kayak. So there's lots of things that are fun that I have zero ability to do. Some of it's time, some of it's allotted space, and some of it's money. With woodworking, it's all three. I don't have the time, I don't have the space, and I don't have the money. So, can't do it. Also, it's one of those things that's really difficult to do when you can't drive and live in a 400 square foot apartment, which for people who operate in meters, that's about 39.8 square meters. Including my patio. It's like 426 square feet is my apartment. So, yeah, it's fun. Haven't done it in ever, really. At least since I was a small child. I get my creative needs from other things. Which is why I digitally create things. Unfortunately, a lot of those physical crafty trades, a lot of those require space, which isn't something I have. And as much fun as they can be, they're not something I will ever be able to do. That's okay. At least as long as I live in a small apartment. Which, let's be honest, probably going to be up for a while. Because there's no way in hell my salary is going to allow me to get a house. Or even like a bigger apartment. No way in hell. Unless you guys feel like all upping your subs to tier 3 and also giving me $50 a month on Patreon. Yeah, it's not going to happen. And you know what? That's fine. I'm good. I do know somebody who does woodworking professionally, though. He's designed a bunch of stages for TED Talks, TEDx, and all that stuff. But just because something is fun doesn't mean it needs to be done. There's things that I would like to do a hell of a lot more than woodworking as a hobby that are much more attainable, like camping. I can store all my stuff for backpacking in a small Rubbermaid container, just put it in my closet, and be good to go. That's all I need. Much more plausible, reasonable, doable as somebody who lives in a small apartment. I think a lot of people just don't really understand the concept of living in a small apartment. I literally live in one room. Like, I don't even have a door. I'm gonna go smoke some. Don't smoke too much some. But enjoy your smoke. I might do that tonight, but probably not. What do you mean by admirable? Are you saying that you admire people who do woodworking? I never know what people mean when they say admirable. It's like, do you admire people who do woodworking? Do people admire you for doing woodworking? I love that those two dogs just follow this dwarf around, because this dwarf is the animal trainer. I just follow him around. Yeah, unfortunately, I picked a career path that people just make fun of. You tell somebody that you're a woodworker, and people envy you. You tell somebody that you're a content creator and a Twitch streamer, and people go, get a real job. It kind of sucks, but you know. I just entertain thousands of people a day between YouTube and Twitch. Beat that. Sorry, what No Man's Sky? Holy shit. So I don't give a shit about No Man's Sky. But like... Hold on, I'm just trying to get a good shot of this. They just released a new trailer for a thing. Look at this shit. Just look at this. Look at this shit. Holy fuck, that big. Wow. Space jellyfish. Looks fucking dope. Jesus. Are you inside the space jellyfish? You're inside. You go inside the space jellyfish. Well, that's crazy. For 18 plus? Now, do you mean to work as an adult actor? Because you're basically saying that that's the most desired job for porn people. But I think that you mean it's the most desired job for children. Because it is the most desired career path for, like, people that are in elementary school, yes. I should finish watching Farscape, but I also really shouldn't. Gotta keep that chat room moving. I think you have your stats wrong, BCJ. As somebody who works in this industry, I know for a fact that you actually have your stats wrong. You have it backwards. I don't care what stats you're going by. You are wrong. It is the #1 most desired job for children. Certainly, it's a desirable job for adults as well, but you're missing the part where it's also the #1 most desired job. Like, you ask any child what they want to do when they grow up, they want to stream Fortnite. They don't want to, you know, like kids, you know how kids in, like, when I was a kid wanted to be a rock star. We wanted to be like Linkin Park. We wanted to be like Metallica, right? Now kids want to be like Ninja. Also, CCJ, you do this thing that drives me bonkers. I say a thing to you and you go, no, you're wrong. When I know for a fact that that's not the case. Just fucking stop it. Don't say you're wrong. You can say that you disagree, but you need to realize that you don't know everything. When you were a kid, you wanted to be a firefighter? Yeah, who the fuck wants to be a firefighter in 2022? I wanted to fly planes. That's what I wanted to do. Just remember that telling somebody blatantly that they're wrong just makes you sound like an orange American president who gets memed on a lot, and it doesn't make you sound like you're somebody who wants to have a conversation. If you want to have a conversation, have a conversation. Don't just be like, no, you're wrong. Don't deal in absolutes. That doesn't lend itself to a conversation. That ends itself to ending a conversation, which comes across as obnoxious. Peculiar, what up? It's good to see you. Hello, good evening. I went to a firefighter training course for the volunteer firefighters as like a school trip when I was little. Hey, the elves have arrived to trade. Dwarves haven't come back yet. Let's actually sell these figurines. And it was one of the, not worst, but like it instantly convinced me that I never, ever, ever, ever wanted to be a firefighter. So it was one of those things where it's like, you don't really know how much work something is until you see somebody do it. And then you're like, oh, yeah, don't want to do that. Got it. Let's see if I can spot who did. Bunch of gift subs have been thrown around recently. But if you look up in your notifications, it'll tell you who gifted it to you. All right. Actually trade for something. They bring me fun animals. Brought a mink, a coyote, a beaver. Don't believe I've ever seen a tame beaver in Dwarf Fortress before. I've seen beavers before. Alligator snapping turtle. Oh. Pity it's not a giant alligator snapping turtle. I'm assuming an alligator snapping turtle is vermin. Instead, I'm just going to take the fruits. Let's take the peaches. Millions of peaches. Alligator snapping turtles? I think they're cool. That's just because I like turtles. I've held them a couple of times as part of a wildlife rescue thing that mostly just takes pets away from people. Also, just a tip for people who do that. If you unfollow me and refollow me, it does pop up in my activity feed, so I do know that you're doing that. Learn to take criticism. Sheesh. start placing some tables. Oh geez, I need to make more. How much charcoal have I made? Probably a lot. 196 charcoal, jeez. When you lived in Florida, you had a turtle that lived in our backyard. He was really cool. He made sure that he had greens to eat and would just kind of hang out with us. I read an article a couple of years ago. I want to say it was like on Reader's Digest's website or something. But anyway, I read this article a couple of years ago, and it was... It was about this older man who had a pet tortoise, right? And tortoises can live for like a ridiculously long time. He had this pet tortoise. It spent most of its time in his backyard, and in his basement and in his garage, and he would like put out food for it. Lived in central U.S. And one day, the tortoise vanished, and they couldn't find it. They put out looking for this tortoise sign, or this tortoise vanished. Sorry, they put up signs for it, missing signs. They put an article in the local newspaper. They did everything they could to find this tortoise, and they were unable to find this tortoise. So after much sadness, they eventually gave up and went on with their lives. 35 years later, because this was in like the 70s. It was like the late teen. It was like the year that the article was written, so just a couple of years ago. They found the tortoise because the man who owned the tortoise had died, and the family was cleaning the tortoise out, and he had this shed in the backyard that was nailed shut. It was just a shed that had some storage in it, and that was it. Somehow, this tortoise managed to get into the shed. Either he opened the shed up and then locked it, or something, but somehow this tortoise got into the shed, and a box fell on the tortoise, like a cardboard box with some stuff in it. So this tortoise was in this shed for multiple decades, living off of random rodents, bugs, and things that walked past it. They took the stuff off of the tortoise, and the tortoise is with the family and alive and well to this day. Quite happy. Just fucking imagine that. Think about that. Imagine just like you walk into a room, something falls on you, and it's like, well, this is my life for 30 years. Fucking tortoises. Weird-ass creatures. It's just absolutely bonkers to think about. That's like horror movie inducing? Kind of, but it's also a tortoise. Like, tortoise don't really give a shit. Tortoise have food, tortoise have water, tortoise don't mind. But yeah, it is kind of like that movie Buried. About the guy that got buried alive. You're surprised it didn't eat the cardboard box? I mean, how would a tortoise eat a cardboard box? Where was this again? In central U.S. Here, I'll see if I can find the story. Here's a picture of it, actually, in the room. That's the tortoise. It's like a hoarder's room. In fact, that's a fucking record player. Wow. Anyway, yeah, that's the tortoise here. Family finds their missing turtle in a storage room after 30 years after she vanished. Here you go. Totally amazed. I mean, it was clearly a very messy. Well, I mean, turtles or tortoises don't need that much don't need much water, right? Is there still time to submit a bad tile set? I haven't even selected them. I'm gonna do that probably on Sunday. So yeah, absolutely. If you find like just find a weird looking tile set on Bay 12, just send it to me. Just send me a link and I'll add it to the options. Yeah, I haven't done any of that yet. Yeah, nowhere near too late to submit a bad tile set. But yeah, turtles and tortoises are quite resilient little critters. Investments are open, heads up. You want to invest your tickets? Now you wonder if animated GIFs are supported as tile sets? I can tell you this, just to make your life easy, no. Unfortunately, I don't think Dwarf Fortress understands what a GIF is. It'd be great if it did, but I don't think it does. So I think what we may end up having to do with this faction is like spawn in adventurers and run them to it. Might have to do that. Because I'm starting to think we're not going to get any migrants. You know, it makes for some very awful tile sets. Thankfully, I don't have to tolerate that. But yes, it would in fact make some truly horrible tile sets. I mean, if you want to see the worst tile set, I'll show you the worst tile set I have. I have a folder called meme tiles, right? For reference, trying to find a normal-ish tile set. This is a normal-ish tile set, right? This is one that Stone drew in a couple of minutes, or in like an hour on their computer, right? That's what a normal tile set looks like, more or less, aside from like a normal font, generally. This is maybe my worst one. It's just a picture of my face. So, like, dwarves are, like, this weird, like, chunk of stuff up there. I should probably get a clearer picture of my face and use that instead. This one's also pretty awful. This one is something else. I can tell you that much. That one is truly something else. Everything is Nicolas Cage. So looking forward to playing with that one. Ironically, the game is still sort of playable with that tile set on. Sort of. Not well playable, but sort of playable. Confess Nicolas Cage. Unfortunately, Nicolas Cage is not a valid wager amount. Oh shit, we're out of booze. Oh my god. One at the last second. Look at that. This is a weird little fort. Such a weird little fort. I think it's time to expand the marsh pit. Considering we've also had no guests so far, which I think is interesting. Let's remove those down there. Food's still getting put away. Table, 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 table. Chair, chair, chair. But I do gotta say, thank you so much to everybody for sticking around today. Hanging out and watching the stream. What's this floor going to be? It's technically already a tavern. This is going to be our tavern. I was kind of hoping we'd get some guests in here, but apparently not. You head to bed, Baron? You sleep well. We will see you on Tuesday or Monday if you catch the HyperStrange stream. What's the tavern called? Well, it's got a name. It's the Marsh Pit. Because I can't call it the Mosh Pit. There's a form of music in this faction called the Future Metal, which obviously means it's a marsh pit. But in this case, it's the Marsh Pit. So are they new metalheads? I don't knew anything about that. They might be old metalheads, depending. They're certainly future metalheads. I can say that much for certain. Can you imagine Dwarf metal to have a lot of percussion? I would imagine it to literally be music that's used only using metal, or created with nothing but metal. Various different percussive metal techniques. Like, it's just industrial. It's just like heavy, blaring industrial music. I mean, I have no idea what it is. Knowing Dwarf Fortress, it's probably actually like a plong, 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 plong. That's usually about how complicated music is in Dwarf Fort. See, that's not fucking industrial, though. Sauna isn't industrial. Here, I'll give you some industrial. Or maybe not quite industrial, but more what I would think of as industrial. Listen to, check this out. There you go. Be warned, the Bandcamp's website's often very loud. That's industrial. I'm going to make a food stockpile, and it's just going to be for seeds. If you turn on a song and your knee-jerk reaction is to throw your headphones across the room, it's probably industrial. Good call on the loud warning. You're welcome. Really regretting building that roof to stop the rain from getting into the Fisher Dwarves because the issue is I have a whole lot of dwarves with fever in it. Could jam to that? Oh, it's a fucking bop. Although the one thing I should have linked the music video instead of the song, but the music video for that thing is, let's just say this is a music video that you can smell. Like, skim through that music video and tell me if you can smell that music video. Because I watched that music video and I go, I know what that room smells like. It smells like fucking cigarettes, weed, and crack. A little bit of beer. A lot of beer, probably. Started playing it with your 11-month-old son, sitting with you, and you loved what, with that song? Or Dwarf Fortress? I feel like if assuming it wasn't like mind-blaringly loud, it would be lovely. Kid could get down with that. I love all those videos of like little kids just like jamming to death metal. One of my a person who works at Twitch who I know, she has like a 12-month-old like just little kid. Insists on listening to Opeth before it goes to bed. You know exactly what that room smells like. See, Hobo knows what I'm talking about. It's like if you've ever been in like a shitty nightclub, you know what that room smells like. I love that music video. That music video is the best visual representation of a awful nightclub, or the best kind of nightclub. Smells like middle school. Man, you went to a crazy middle school then. As they say, smells like teen spirit. Oh, did I put the bags in this? Nope. No, I did. Good evening. Today was swamped at work. So much great progress and figuring shit out. Was awesome, but exhausting. How's dwarves? This fort is weird. Tailing. That's all I can say. No, it's a bop, Truzoka. Trying to think of like other like actual industrial. There's people confuse industrial and industrial metal pretty frequently, which I don't blame people for. It's an easy confusion to make. But Rammstein is very much not industrial. They're definitely just like butt rock metal, but in the good way. I do enjoy some Rammstein. Especially the most recent stuff they put out. Like their stuff's good, but it's not industrial. Like to me, industrial is like music that is made by machines. Like if you walk into a room full of like industrial machinery with a microphone and record a bunch of sounds and make music out of that, that's industrial. Or another thing that's like pseudo-industrial would be he works best live, so this is probably the best example of this artist. It's a 45-minute video, but you can get an idea just skimming through it. AI composed music? I mean, that's kind of its own thing. You know, that's not industrial. That's AI. that's artificial intelligence written music or proc-gen music. I wouldn't call that industrial. That's its own thing, you know? I'm very worried about this fort because we haven't been getting more dwarves. It's going to be really difficult for us to actually do anything interesting with this fort. if we don't have like 50 dwarves. Because we got the first 2 migrant waves and nothing since, which is bad. Yeah, Author and Punisher is fantastic. Just because he built all of his own instruments. Musical AI now with 1% more music. Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, no, Arthur and Punisher is fantastic because he is like the best example of like, this is what happens when you're like an electrician and a machine parts designer, and also you really want to write music. Do I like any black metal bands? I own every single one of Wormwitch's albums. I like Dimmu Borgir, if I'm saying that right. I like a couple German black metal bands that I can't pronounce the names of. Yeah, I enjoy black metal. I think I prefer doom more than black metal. Black metal is really funny because it's just really, 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 really fast surf rock with scary vocals. Like, that's kind of just what black metal is, and so I kind of like it for that, but I don't listen to a ton of it. There's a few bands that I'm partial to. I really like Wormwitch because I've seen them so many times. They're a band from Vancouver, and they have a habit of just... How do I explain this? They have a habit of being the band that opens for any band who's not a small band, but they never really go on tour aside from that. So they're just like this band from Vancouver that whenever a band that actually has like renown behind them, if they need an opener, Wormwitch opens. Oh, how was the dwarves weird? So this faction has almost no male dwarves in it. And our first attempt embarking spawned the water at the wrong layer, so it flooded the whole map and everybody drowned pretty much. So I had to abandon the first attempt at an embark. All of the dwarves worship gods of torture and death, which are all represented by female dwarves. And the queen of this faction is a Gelder. So... They all worship gods of torture and death. The only male god in these dwarves' pantheon is the god of pregnancy. And there's almost no male dwarves in this faction. We have 4 out of 19, which is way lower than the norm. And this faction's also tiny, and I know Gelders are farmers. Thanks, Dad. The whole faction has, like... no fortresses. They have 2. They have 1 fortress and 1 hill fortress. And now we're getting no migrants. So it's a weird faction. The Gelder part just helps the headcanon of like, oh, well, that makes sense why there's no men in this fort. So. But I am aware that it is a farmer job. It's a kind of a funny faction. No, because they have a mountain home and one hill. So, the mountain home, which is down here, has 300. And their hill fort has 100. So they're not a Hillux faction. They just have 1. I just thought it was kind of funny. So, the headcanon for this fortress is, like, bizarre to me. Well, the hill dwarves aren't actually on the mountainside. The hills dwarves are on a glacier. Oh, also the lake that we're on is sinister, and it's called the Stupid Lake. They called it that. The jungles that we're in are the... Oh, also, that's the Strong Water, which is a river. And the area that we live in is called the Purple Swamps. and the hairy jungles. So we're in the hairy jungles of the stupid lake next to the purple swamps. You can't make this up. Dwarf Fortress did. So, you know, that's why this fort is weird. Is just because, like, the naming is very funny, and also this faction is very strange. An entire region. I think that's most Dwarf Fortress worlds, right? Like, almost everything could be like a stoner. Like, almost anything in Dwarf Fortress could be like a Weed King album. The Silky Dunes could be a Weed King album. The Murky Forests could be a Weed King album. The Strangled Waste, definitely. The Roasted Horn. The Flickering Dunes. There's more of the Strangled Waste. More of the Roasted Horn. The South Forest, that's a very, like, functional Dwarf Fortress name, because it is very south. The Round Dunes, what's this? The Unnameable Prairie. Well, they ran out of ideas. What's this up here? The Wise Prairies. The Mire of Sacrifice. Lovely. Let's see what this volcano's called. The Crest of Entering. Okay. The Hill of Larva. Well, it is spooky. The Blockaded Sea. What about this one? The Gulf of Scribes. Names in Dwarf Fortress are fun. Enter the world here and burn. Yep. You don't suppose there'd be a Valley of Exiting? No. Wouldn't that be a cave? It's like the cave. It's just called Exiting. Or Exits. Not to be confused with Exodus, of course. Oh, hey, they finally built that lever. Well, I mean, good luck exiting a volcano once you've entered a volcano. I mean, come on. Once one has entered a volcano, it's going to be mighty difficult for the person to exit said volcano. This is kind of just a fact. But you know what, chat? We've done about 9.5 hours of Dwarfs today. I think it is time for me to save, and I think we're going to go play some Shotgun King. But this has been a really good start to this fort and this world. I think this'll, or not this world, but like this chunk of the world, I guess. I don't know how long we'll spend in this fort itself, but it kind of depends on whether or not we get more migrants or not, you know? So it's pretty shallow, so we'll see. If we get more migrants, then I'm sure we can continue doing stuff in this particular fort. But otherwise, I think probably over the next couple of weeks, we'll start a couple of forts for this faction in various spots around here. And try to do kind of what we did with the Crimson Pulley, but with this faction slowly expanding outwards and building cooler and cooler things. So, I think it's time to save. if you're sticking around, if I could get around to beers, that'd be fantastic. If you want to go watch more Dwarf Fortress, there is one other person streaming Dwarf Fortress right now, so you could go watch them if you'd like. And if you are piecing out, there's a link to the Patreon if you want to support stuff directly, and there is a link to the YouTube channel if you want to watch other things that we've done. But we're going to go play some Shotgun King, because tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., I'm going to be talking with half of the dev team. I'm going to be talking with one of the 2 devs of that game to record an interview for the YouTubes. Need to get ready for bed. You have a good night's sleep swells, beers. But yeah, I'm going to be talking to one of the developers tomorrow for a YouTube video. Yeah, it's been a while. I've slowed down on the interviews because like I needed to fully adjust to the new schedule. But we're going to try and get those balls rolling again. Don't know when it'll actually be done, but you love the dev interviews so much. I do too. I do think that they are genuinely some of the best stuff I do. I do think that they are genuinely some of the best stuff that I do. But, like I said, let's close that.